Hi everyone. This is extremely weird, okay? Because last year I had to do a lot of this sort of recording lectures for students and what have you, and that's fine. That's okay, it's no problem. But recording then for people I've actually met and people I know, and it just occurred to me that I've not met you guys, I don't know you guys, so I'm literally at the moment in the middle of August talking to a complete bunch of strangers who are going to be watching this and haven't got a clue about me whatsoever. So this is a whole weird situation, and I get that it's weird for you guys too, but I guess that means I have to start the entire module off with an apology. Sorry about that. This is MS 100, Introduction to Media Communication, and this is a very, very straightforward video to begin the module off, only about 14-15 slides, which is just going to set the scene a little bit for what we're going to be doing up until Christmas in this module. This is a core module on the media degree, so you know, you better do well in it. And I'm going to be a lecturer for it, and I'll introduce myself in a second. Like I said, I'll introduce myself in a second. My name is Dr. Leighton Evans. I am a senior lecturer in media theory at Swansea University, and I'm the undergraduate program director for media studies. My research interests are in social media and virtual reality. My office hours, I can't really tell you when my office hours are because I don't know when I'm going to be allowed in my office, and I don't know, more importantly, when you guys will be allowed in my office, which would make it office hours, right? So when I say basically any time, it means anytime you need something from me, you email me, or you can Skype me or something like that if you so prefer. And if you email me, I'll give you my Skype address, that kind of thing. Okay, so I'm basically available 24/7 because I have no life, and you know, I'm up all hours. I'm usually playing video games. I'm usually listening to music like Soundgarden at the beginning there. So that's a feature of what I do. I always put music at the beginning of my lectures because I don't know, I think there's something wrong with me. Anyway, that's me. So I'm going to be taking you through MS 100 this year. I've been doing it since I arrived in Swansea in 2017. I used to teach on it years and years ago, like decades ago, when I was doing my PhD in Swansea, which seems like a different lifetime ago now. So yeah, I kind of know what I'm talking about. I'll leave you judge, but yeah, I kind of. Teaching on this module, MS 100, by a team of media theorists and academic specialists. That basically means me and Ian. At the end of the day, okay, I do all the teaching on this module, and Ian is the subject librarian. And what you can do is get into contact with Ian if you need to find anything in the library. And I will post up details of Ian's contact details and how to get hold of stuff in the library on the Canvas website, which you've probably been on to click on this in order to watch this. Who would have thunk it? Okay, so what do I want to achieve in this short little lecture today? In this short little video, I should say. This isn't a lecture, right? This is so weird. It's like, this is a replacement for a lecture. I'm doing it in my dining room. My dartboard is behind me. I've got a whole, like you guys can't see, but like the dining table is just piled up with stuff. There's books, magazines, Blu-rays. It's a mess. You know, I haven't vacuumed in like a week. I mean, this place is a disgrace. You don't know anything. This is so strange. So this is a welcome, not just I guess to MS 100, but also to your degree. You know, as your undergraduate program director, I'm basically responsible for leading you through the next 3 years. And so, hello, welcome. You know, knock yourself out. You're going to enjoy. It's going to be awesome. Go through what the module involves in some depth, and this should be in conjunction with the module guide, which is on Canvas, which you would have already looked at, of course. And I'll talk a little about the assessments, but what I'll do in the Zoom session for week 1 is also talk a lot about the assessments. I'll go through each one in turn, what you need to do, and importantly, actually, why you need to do it. But I'll cover a little of that today, just so, and what I'll do in this video is also not just cover that material, but also tell you what exactly I'm looking for in each one, and I'll expand on that in the Zoom session as well. So you can't have any excuses for not acing this module, basically. So obviously, I think you should know by now that Swansea University now uses a virtual learning environment called Canvas. This is what the Introduction to Media and Communication Canvas page looks like. I know that because I've screen capped it. If you look at the top there, you know, I'm also looking at the BBC website, Guardian website, myths about media studies, etc., media studies, stuff like that. I'm all about media studies, basically. So everything to do with this module, everything that you need, everything that you could possibly want is on that page. Okay, get to know Canvas, get to know how it works. It's all up there. These are the learning outcomes for this module. This is extremely dull, so let me plaster on a really fake smile and go through this rubbish. The learning outcomes are demonstrate and understand an introductory understanding and deployment of key terms, for example, representation, text, discourse, audiences, public service, political economy, the public sphere in the analysis of media. Okay, you've got to do that. You've got to use the terminology correctly. Should be able to do that, right? Demonstrate awareness and knowledge of particular authors and an ability to outline some aspects of their scholarship in the media field. You've got to know who the people are, and you've got to know what they said. Guess what? Lectures will cover all that material for you, but you've got to know who they are and what they said when you're writing about it. Discuss some aspects of change in the media, demonstrating an outline understanding of such changes. The module's structured that way. I'm all on top of this stuff. Successfully complete a set essay, write into a specified length, beginning to argue effectively and draw appropriately on academic conventions. Boom! Yes! Assignment 4 of the module. Demonstrate a range of relevant study skills, including taking concise and relevant notes on a reading, writing an essay plan, researching a bibliography on a set topic. I actually don't like that last one, researching a bibliography on a set topic. So what I do is, that's part of the essay basically, okay? Including taking concise and relevant notes on reading, that'll be assessed in assessment 2. Writing an essay plan, assessed in assessment 4. But it's all there, all these learning, they're all covered. I'm so over. These are the module topics. Now, you can find this table in your module guide, and I suggest you just give it a once over in order to understand what's coming up. And then the module guide will go into each of these in depth with a précis of what will be covered that week and a reading list for that week. This is just an overview here. So what are we going to do? Introduction to the module and why should we study media? Well, obviously, I'm talking to you right now as that introduction to the module. Why should we study media is the next video I'm making. And what I've done for the rest of it is split these things up into Zoom session 1 and independent study the Zoom seminar, which will be the Zoom session number 2. So basically, now I'm trying something a bit different here. Usually seminars at university will be smaller groups than the one that we're going to have. You know, probably 15 tops, maybe 20 tops if you're a bit unlucky. Unfortunately, we're going to do it as a whole group. But that doesn't absolve you of any of the responsibilities for what you've got to do, unfortunately. So for each seminar, which is the second Zoom session of the week, you've got a piece of reading to do. Now, none of them are very difficult, and they're all actually relevant to what we're doing on not just in this module, but on this course. And that seminar will be focused on that reading. I'll be asking questions about the reading. I'll be expecting you coming into that seminar with some understanding of what that reading is about. The Zoom session 1 is much more about either capping back over the lecture, which are these recordings that I'm doing, or some general stuff like, week 2, how to get a first class degree in media studies. I want you to get a first class degree in media studies. And you might ask, well, why, Leighton? Why would you want me to do so well in media studies? Well, if you do well, it makes me look good. Therefore, if you do well, I get respect from my colleagues and management. And who knows, one day I might get a pay rise. So do well. As you can see, I also go over some of the assessments in here. So overview of the assessments will be coming up on Zoom in week 1. In week 4, the art of summarising. It's such a posh title, but that is relevant for the assessment which is due in week 6. In week 8, glossaries, accuracy and terminology is relevant for the assessment coming up in week 10. And then I'll do essay preparation in the last week, which is relevant for the essay which is due in after Christmas. So I'm on top of everything. I'm so on top of it. It's incredible. It's just untrue. I don't mean to boast, but this is epic. Okay, just a brief overview of your assessments. As I said, I will be talking about these in the Zoom session in week 1, which you'll all have to be at, of course, because you all want to pass these. So assessment 1, right. First up, massive apology. But your first assessment, probably in university, will be this assessment, and it is due in week 3. Yeah, week 3. Now, I don't have a deadline. What I usually do for this is I open up the assessment for an entire day, and you can complete it anytime during that day. Okay, it's a test basically. It's a multiple choice test on the APA referencing system. It says marked assignments will be available via Blackboard. Please excuse that. That means Canvas. Basically, the system marks your assessment as soon as it's done, and you get your result straight away. The only thing you need to do for this assessment is to read, digest and understand the APA referencing guide, which will be on Canvas. From today, as soon as you watch this, get onto Canvas, download that document, it's a PDF, and start reading it and start learning it. Start learning what referencing style we use in this department and how it works. And then this will test you on that referencing style. That is that straightforward. You might think, okay, why am I being treated like, you know, a 12-year-old child? It's a good question. The purpose of it is this. If you don't reference properly, and I'll talk a lot more about referencing, but if you don't reference properly, you're not doing academic work, and therefore you're not working at a university level. You're not doing a degree, as far as we're concerned. And every year, we see students getting worse and worse and worse at referencing. So a couple of years ago, we decided to do something about it by doing this. And there has been a demonstrable improvement since we started doing the exam on referencing, because it actually forces you to learn what the referencing style is. Good question at this point is, well, what's the penalty if I get referencing wrong? First year, you lose marks. Second year, you get failed. It's that straightforward. Referencing at first is difficult, but once you learn the rules, it's actually really, really easy. And it is such a stupid way to fall foul of poor marks. You know, the only people who really do badly on it are incredibly lazy people who can't be bothered to learn the rules, and that's not you guys, right? No, of course not. Assessment 2. This is a summary task. You think, well, I can do a summary. Can you? Can you really? So this is a chapter which is available from today on Canvas, and again, I want you to read it, and I want you to read it a hell of a lot earlier than like the day before this is due. In order to do this well, you have got to start reading it this week. Okay, this is a long chapter. Don't make any apologies for why it's a long chapter. It's a long chapter of Dr. William Merrin's Media Studies 2.0. Now, William is a assistant professor in our department. His office is next door to me. We can often be seen drinking together in the uplands. So I'm not doing this just to promote his work, because, as you will note, I'm not asking you to buy his book or anything like that, so he's not getting no royalties from it. Indeed, I stole this chapter out of his book. Yeah. So it says again it's available via Blackboard. I apologise. It's available via Canvas. The reason why I've chosen this chapter for you to read is it's a summary of the entire discipline of media studies. Okay. Now I'm going to talk more about what I'm looking for in the Zoom session this week and the Zoom session in week 4. But really what I'm looking for in this exercise is that you understand William's argument. And by the way, that means you have to read the whole thing, because the argument requires reading the whole thing. You understand how he's come to his conclusions and you understand what he is trying to say about the state of media studies. Now, don't worry about this for now. There are 2 sessions to go over this. One in a short way, one in a very, very long way when I talk about the importance of summaries. And the reason why you're asked to do this, the reason why I've put this as an assessment for everyone, is because summarizing people's work into your own words and using that argument accurately and effectively is absolutely critical in every assessment that you will do in media studies in a written form. You cannot avoid it. If you're not good at it, you need to learn it, which is why I'm giving you the opportunity to start learning it here in this kind of supervised way. If you are good at summaries, there is a different, if you like, way of doing it at degree level, which takes into account the argument overall. I've just made it sound really difficult. It's actually not that difficult. Lots of people did really well in it last year because they committed a bit of time to reading it, they got their heads around what was being said, and they just put it out very straightforwardly. This is what this is being said here. It's not that difficult, really. Assessment 3, this is a new one, right? Assessment 3 used to be a group work exercise where you would make a video about a topic. Well, guess what? COVID-19's come along and you can't work in groups anymore. So I had to do something on the fly, basically. So this is a glossary of key terms entry, and the marking of this is going to be a bit weird. What I'm going to ask you to do is just do a glossary entry for a key term. So I'm going to assign everyone in the class a key term, which is important in media studies, and you have to go away, research that term, write 250 words on it using academic sources only, and then submit that. Now, it's going to be reasonably straightforward to do. The kicker is the mark is not just dependent on how good yours is, the mark is dependent on how good the entire class is. So, this is what we call game theory, right? I'm messing with you guys at this point, right? If you do well, you will be rewarded. You know, the individual mark is going to be important, but the quality of the entire group's work will also be taken into account. I will talk more about this after the assessment week in week 8, but I'm looking forward to having a bit of fun here. This is going to be exciting. It's only worth 15% of the entire grade for the module, but it's a good exercise in being concise and accurate with terminology, and that's really the intention for this exercise. And then assessment 4 is an essay. For the essay, you're required to submit a 500-word plan and 2,000-word essay, fully referenced. The bibliography does not count towards the word count at the end. And I'm also going to add an element to this, which I will talk about more, which is a sort of element on feedback, which you can find in the module guide and you can have a look at. But it's just a brief statement of what feedback you've received across the module previously and how you've addressed it in this essay as well. Don't worry about that too much. That's more to get you in the mode of thinking about reading your feedback, using your feedback, and actually improving based on the feedback you've been given. Key text for the module. Again, I talk about these in the module handbook and you can go in and have a look. The one I recommend more than anyone is the top one, Paul Hodkinson's Media, Culture and Society. I recommend it for a couple of reasons. First of all, because I based a lot of the material out of that book. Secondly, because it's a really, really good book. It's very straightforward. It's very easy to use. He writes in a really excellent way. William Marin's Media Studies 2.0 is great, and you'll get some of that as reading. Owen Devereux's Understanding the Media is very handy, and so is John Story's Cultural Theory and Popular Culture, but it's a little bit away from some of the stuff that we talk about. The bottom 2 are just for further reading if you need to. Reading in your degree. Oh my God, how important is reading? You are fully expected to use reading lists, which should be published by your lecturers in their module handbooks, and you are expected to read at least double the amount of time that you have in lectures per week. Okay, so I just did a dramatic pause there because of course I live in the real world and I know for a lot of people that's not going to happen, but if you want to achieve as well as you can, reading is a critically important part of what you're going to be doing, And to read effectively, it is no good to leave it all until the week before your assignment is due. You need to read a lot, and you need to read consistently. You need to set aside time to read about your subject. You need to set aside enough time to get a good understanding, because your self-directed self-study is an important aspect, not just of this module, but the entire course you're doing, and every course you could do at degree level. I can say this much with absolute authority: the better assignments that we get indicate people who've been reading. People who read the course material and people who read our suggestions, they perform superbly. People who don't, they normally don't produce great work, and it is that straightforward. There is a causal relationship between these things. It's no mistake. Attendance is really important, but not like that. Attendance like that in the picture, as we know, is impossible. And if you put your feet over the chairs like that, I would go mental, because I wasn't allowed to do it when I was an undergraduate student, so you're not allowed to do it. Attendance, in the context of this module at least, it means watch the videos, come to the Zoom seminars. It's that straightforward. It's 2 hours of Zoom seminars. Watch the videos anytime you watch. You can binge watch them, right? I'm not saying that this is as good as like Schitt's Creek or Friends on Netflix or something like that, but you can still binge them. You can do the whole thing in like a few hours. So, yeah, do that. I'm gonna hammer this home, right? We use the APA referencing system within the Department of Media and Communication. I want you to download that guide off Canvas, and I want you to be reading it, and I want you to be getting hold of it. Right, that's all I've got to say for this introduction. I only overran by about 12 minutes. I think that's pretty impressive. See you in a bit.